Also, Prabhuji, we are also recording on YouTube.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, okay. So you're the co-host now. Yeah. I'm sorry, I shared the wrong words. It is not 12, but 2. So I'll reshare again on the WhatsApp group.
Okay, all right. Reading from 3rd canto, 16th chapter, verse number 2. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Etau tau parshadau mayam jay vijaya eva cha kadarthi kritya mam yadvo bhav kratam atikramanmam. Synonyms: Sri Bhagavan Vaj, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Ito, these two, Tau, they, Parshadau, attendants, Mayam, of mine, Jaya, named Jaya, Vijay, named Vijay, Eva, certainly, Cha, and Kadarthi Kritya, by ignoring, Mam, me, Yat, which, were against you, Bhau, great, Akratam, have committed Atikramam, offense. Translation: the personality of Godhead said, these attendants of mine, Jay and Vijay by name, have committed a great offense against you because of ignoring me. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. To commit an offense at the feet of a devotee of the Lord is a great wrong. Even when a living entity is promoted to Vaikuntha, there is still the chance that he may commit offenses. But the difference is that when one is in Vaikuntha planet, even if by chance one commits an offense, he is protected by the Lord. This is the remarkable fact in the dealings of the Lord and the servitor, as seen in the present incident concerning Jay and Vijay. The word atikramam used here indicates that in offending devotee, one neglects the Supreme Lord himself. By mistake, the doorman held the sages from entering Vaikuntha Lok. But because they were engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord, their annihilation was not expected by advanced devotees. The Lord's presence on the spot was very pleasing to the hearts of the devotees. The Lord understood that the trouble was due to his lotus feet not being seen by the sages, and therefore he wanted to please them by personally going there. The Lord is so merciful that even if there is some impediment for the devotee, he himself manages matters in such a way that the devotee is not bereft of having audience at his lotus feet. There is a very good example in the life of Haridas Thakur. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was residing at Jagannath Puri, Haridas Thakur, who happened to be a Nomadian by birth, was with him. In Hindu temples, especially in those days, no one but a Hindu was allowed to enter. Although Haridas Thakur was the greatest of all Hindus in his behavior, he considered himself a Mohammedan and did not enter the temple. Lord Chaitanya could understand his humility, and since he did not go to see the temple, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, who is not different from Jagannath, used to come and sit with Haridas Thakur daily. Here in Srimad Bhagavatam, we also find the same behavior of the Lord. His devotees were prevented from seeing his lotus feet, but the Lord himself came to see them on the same lotus feet for this which they aspired. It is also significant that he was accompanied by the goddess of fortune. The goddess of fortune is not to be seen by ordinary persons, but the Lord was so kind that although the devotees did not aspire for such an honor, he appeared before them with the goddess of fortune. Okay. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjalashakaya Chakshurummilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswatdeve Gauravani Pracharine Vishaya Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so we'll continue from the last class, Vaishnava Aparadha part 2. Last time we discussed about what is the meaning of Aparadha, who is a Vaishnava, because Aparadha is only applicable for devotees. And in one sense, every jiva is the devotee of the Lord, but then they are all at different categories. So that's why when we are talking about Vaishnava Aparadha, we are especially talking about those who are worshipping the Lord. And it also depends on it would also depend on the bhakti that they possess. So accordingly, they are categorized as Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama. And we also saw how if we offend a great devotee, then even if we are at the stage of bhav, that can be destroyed. And if the offense is medium type, then bhav can become bhavabhas, and then the if the offense is weak, then bhav, which is of a particular category, can become inferior. So madhurya can become dasya like that. So one can fall down from that position. So offenses are very grave, very serious, and it has nothing to do with normal pious and impious activity, sinful activity or pious activity, because that is connected with karma, but bhakti is only connected, or aparadha is connected with bhakti. So bhakti is destroyed if we commit offenses. And from the purport of Srila Prabhupada also, we can see how Jay and Vijay, they are actually eternal associates of the Lord. And of course, in this is the Leela of the Lord, it's the arrangement of the Lord, because as you go further, you'll come to understand that it was desired by the Lord. He wanted to fight, and Jai Vijay wanted to fulfill the desire of the Lord. So then that's why they opposed the sages, the Kumaras. And it is also said later on that the Kumaras actually felt repentant that they offended great devotees, the associates of the Lord, because the associates of the Lord, they are actually beyond any karma, and they are also not subjected to any kind of curses. Okay, so that we need to understand, and we'll also see. We'll take some examples later on how some devotees try to curse great Vaishnavas or associates of the Lord, but then later they fall down because of that. So although one may be a very exalted person, but still offense, one may be as great as Lord Shiva, but one can be destroyed if one will commit serious aparadha to the devotees. So this we discussed. Then we also discussed some Vaishnava etiquettes, how we are supposed to deal with different categories of Vaishnavas, one's guru, Madhyamadhikari, Uttamadhikari, Kanishtadhikari. Um, we discussed all that. And we also, yeah, um, there's a there's also a letter by Srila Prabhupada. Sorry, there is one particular pastime of Prabhupada which is shared by Ballavi Mataji, and she was, because she was thinking that offense means to the pure devotees, but Prabhupada corrected and said that no, any devotee who is spreading message of Krishna, if we commit offense to them, then we'll get the reaction for that. Yeah. So now I would like to share something which I couldn't share last time. And this is Madhya Leela Purport by Srila Prabhupada, 15th chapter, 106. Actually, we may think of senior, junior, and like senior, junior in like in terms of who got initiation first. But it is not always the case. If you remember in the Vaishnava ticket, it was mentioned that we identify seniority based on who took first and second initiation. But it's not always like that, because there are devotees who may be very sincerely practicing bhakti and they are not getting initiated. Maybe probably the guru wants to wait, make them wait for long time, for many years, 10, 15 years. And there are gurus who actually give initiation very early, like maybe 2, 3 years or 5 years like that. So Srila Prabhupada in this regard, he writes in one purport in Madhya Lila 15 chapter 106. When one is situated on the neophyte platform, one cannot understand the devotional ingredients of a pure, unalloyed devotee. However, when the novice engages in devotional service, especially in deity worship, and follows the order of a bona fide spiritual master, he is a pure devotee. Anyone can take advantage of hearing about Krishna consciousness from such a devotee and thus gradually become purified. In other words, any devotee who believes that the holy name of the Lord is identical with the Lord is a pure devotee, even though he may be in the neophyte stage. By his association, others may also become Vaishnavas. So Prabhupada is also saying that it also depends on the faith. So there may be some devotees who are continuing from the previous life, who naturally have the faith that the name is identical with the Lord, and maybe there are initially devotees who may not have that kind of faith. So it also depends, based on one's bhakti, based on one's association with the devotee, and after knowing the devotee's qualities, their determination, faith, and all, one can actually really be able to see whether they are really advanced or not. So this is how we may try to discriminate between different types of devotees. It's not necessary that who has taken first initiative. That's just a general etiquette, a traditional way to identify. But I mean, it is assumed that if someone is taking second initiation, then they are definitely, practicing the uh, devotional limbs strictly and in a regulative way, steadily also. So that indicates, because otherwise you cannot get Brahman Diksha. But then there are devotees who may not get it, but they are probably practicing in a much more strict and steady way compared to any other devotees also. Okay. Uh, Now, aparadh. So basically, see, the quality of bhakti or the quality of chanting, it depends on your, ultimately, it depends on the mood and the bhav of the devotee. It has nothing to do with the quantity. There is a common misconception that the more you increase your rounds, the more you engage in service, the more you become advanced. It has nothing to do with that. I mean, of course, if a devotee does it naturally because they have got taste, that's a different thing. But if someone starts chanting more rounds, it also depends on how the rounds are chanted. It's not just a matter of quantity, like mechanically chanting and just hearing the sound vibration, but it also depends on how much absorbed they are while chanting. So whether you are able to chant 16 rounds attentively, and then if you are, then what about the extra rounds that you are chanting? If you are chanting it like, talking to someone and doing your work and many other things, I mean, of course, one can do that also. Nothing wrong in that. Chanting can be done all the time. And those rounds should, if you are doing some work along with chanting, but that has to be done after your 16 rounds. If for 16 rounds, you have to be very attentive. At least that much you have to do. And then, so if you are doing that, then it is okay. But you have to be aware of aparadhs also, because to be inattentive while chanting the holy name is also offense, and it is a root cause of all the offenses, according to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So we have to be careful. And if you are chanting at the same time, if you are able to remember the Lord, and if you are doing some work, then maybe, yeah, that's a advanced stage, because devotees can chant all the time. I mean, like, and they can also remember the Lord. If their Shravanam is very strong, then Kirtanam will automatically lead to Smaranam. So the taste has to be there. If one wants to do some more quantity, then it is appreciated. Otherwise, it is just a show. Like, I think maybe devotees, they want some kind of a, like, name, fame, prestige, and appreciation, recognition from others. That's why they are doing it. But you need to also see whether your extra chanting or whatever extra you are doing, is that affecting your health and sadhana. So these are also important measures that you have to look. Yeah. So one thing you need to understand is the quality of your devotion becomes very important. Rest all things, even if you want to chant extra rounds or if you want to do something extra, that can all, like chanting especially, can be done in the mind also. If someone is really advanced, they can chant in the mind also throughout the day. And extra services, of course, you have to measure in terms of why are you doing it. You have to question the motivation for that. Like, is it because so that you will get a lot of appreciation from devotees? Oh, this devotee is doing so many services, and whoever is asking him to help, he is helping everyone. No, but then at the cost of health and sadhana, if they are doing the service, then that is not a good thing. Okay, so this has to be remembered. And of course, if you commit aparadhs, like let's say if you have got taste, and if you are doing extra and you are doing better or more than others, but then the feeling of seeing yourself superior to others, that also can lead to some kind of offenses to the devotees, because then you will start judging and then discriminating, and like, so you have to be careful. So Bhakti Sandarbh Srila Jiva Goswami says, well, before that, actually aparadh is, see, generally when we talk about aparadh, uh, it's not that whatever, like, if you do something and someone feels bad about it, it's considered to be aparadh. It's not like that. So aparadh generally are, it is done out of envy or ill intent, or trying to bring someone down, or to try to obstruct someone's devotion. Okay, so if you do it purposefully, intentionally, then it's a aparadh. It's a serious aparadh. Well, there are unintentional offenses also can happen, but the reaction will be weak. Whereas if you commit some intentional aparadhs, then the reaction will be stronger, it will be greater. So In the Bhakti Sandarbh, it is said that chanting with or without faith delivers everyone. If one acts without thinking intentionally of offense and without wicked intention, it does not interfere with bhakti. Okay, so if one does not have an intention of criticizing someone, it does not interfere. But if one intentionally commits offense, that will interfere with bhakti. And the example that Jiva Goswami gives is that of Vena. If you remember, so the son of Vena is Pithu Maharaj. So Vena was a very notorious king, and he was like very envious of the Lord. So when Vena chanted the name of the Lord, he did it with envy, and that's why bhakti did not appear. So in the same way, um, just like the shakti of a substance, sometimes it is impeded. For instance, the fire's power to burn is impeded by damp wood. So this is what Jiva Goswami says in Bhakti Sandarbh. Now, as I also shared earlier, that the offense can be physical, it can be verbal, or it can be mental. If it is physical, it is more severe, the reaction is more severe. If it is verbal, less severe, and then in the mind, it is going to be less severe. But in Kali Yuga, we have to take care that we don't commit aparadha in the mind also, because the aparadha has got reaction in the mind to a lesser degree. But the danger is that the if you keep it with you in the mind for a long time, then that there is a chance that that thought directed against a person or a devotee can actually manifest in reality. So aparadha reaction you get in the mind, but sinful reactions you don't get in the mind. Okay, whatever sins you by like by chance, if you are thinking of some sin, then that reaction you will not get. So we discussed also about Vaishnava Aparadha in like that is the most important out of the 10 offenses. And we also went through the 10 offenses. And we also discussed about the remedy to counter the other offenses. So there are three offenses which need to be particularly be taken care of. And one is, of course, Vaishnava Aparadha is the greatest. That includes Guru Aparadha and Vaishnava Aparadha. And then second type of dangerous offense is to kind of discredit the power of the holy name. And the third is to commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy name. Right. So we also discussed about the remedy for the second and the third one. But the first one will, I think, I don't remember if we discussed the remedy for the first one. If you commit Vaishnava Aparadha, then the only way is to beg forgiveness from the devotee, to serve the devotee, to make the devotee happy by your service, in spite of repeated request, begging forgiveness. If the devotee is still not satisfied, then you have to serve that devotee so you can please that devotee. And in spite of that, he is not happy, then just take shelter of the holy name and chant constantly with the mode of repentance. So then that can counteract the reaction to the offense. Okay. Now, Jiva Goswami says another interesting thing in Bhakti Sandarbh text 153. So he quotes Brahma Vaivarta Puran, and the slok is as follows: O best of the Brahmanas, the Lord, being seen by the devotee, sees that devotee constantly. Approach for shelter, he takes shelter of the devotee. Being worshipped by the devotee, he worships the devotee constantly. So it is actually the other way around. If you see, the Lord is kind of always hankering to reciprocate with the devotees. And if the devotion is pure, without ulterior motive, it is without offenses, then the Lord is actually, we are trying to see the Lord, we are trying to serve the Lord, taking shelter of the Lord, but actually He's doing that with us. Okay, but then later on He says that though bhakti has all powers, if one does not see results in the worship, namely attraction for the Lord, in some scriptures it is said that offenses were committed in the previous lives. If there are no offenses in this life, in bhakti, disrespect for the Vaishnavas, discrediting the powers of the name, and other offenses are the causes of obstacles in bhakti. Okay, so disrespect to devotees, then discrediting the powers of the name, which means that you think that the power name, holy name, whatever is mentioned in the scripture, the glories of that is all exaggeration, or the holy name cannot do this. That is also another offense. So if you do that, then that will create some obstacle in your seva, in your bhakti, in your bhajan. Then, of course, there are 32 aparadhas in the seva aparadhas, the deities. When you worship the deities, then their seva aparadhas also Nam aparadha is separate. These are 32 seva aparadhas. But then all these could be unknowing offenses while doing service to the deity. It can all be counteracted by constantly chanting the holy name. So chanting of the holy name is extremely important, and it has to be done all the time as much as possible. So later on, we also see the need for repeatedly chanting the holy name. Okay. Okay. Now, see, the thing is that one may be fearful, thinking that okay, like this Krishna consciousness seems so easy from outside, or from the first time, when we heard about it, so blissful. But now, as we are coming inside in the moment for staying for some time, and then we are getting to know so many things, and then offenses are so dangerous. So, like it seems that it's all fearful. Okay, but see, it is not like the way you are thinking. I mean, it's only if there are some major offenses committed to some very dear devotees. Of course, those are preaching the glories of the name, and if you commit offenses, then it has to be rectified. And I will also share the reason why offenses are applicable. Okay, but before that, I would like to share verse from the Bhakti Samrit Sindhu 2.1.138. And here Rupa Goswami says that the Supreme Lord, who is pure hearted by his very nature, does not see the serious offenses of his servant, but he accepts even a little service as a great thing. He does not find fault even in those of low character. And Jiva Goswami says that this is a statement in letter of Uddhav to Akrur after he stole the Shamantak jewel and went to Kashi. So you must be familiar with the pastime where Akrura steals the Shamantak jewelry and he goes to Kashi. And the Uddhav writes a letter to him trying to console him that, because he's very fearful. He's afraid of the Lord, that what the Lord will think and what the Lord will do with him. He's a pure devotee also. So Uddhav is writing and consoling him that, even though it might be an offense, but still he does not see the offense. Um, and whatever small thing you do, small service, that he will magnify it. So this is true, but of course, the context is that one should not commit offenses to the devotees. The Lord, one may commit offense to the Lord. The Lord does not take that seriously. But offense against a great Vaishnava is to be taken seriously. And the reason for that is simple. Now imagine if there were no offenses, reaction to offenses applicable in our practice of bhakti, then what would have happened? The entire society would have become what? International Society for, like you can say, instead of Krishna consciousness, it will be um, like fighting consciousness, or some kind of faulty consciousness, because every devotee will try to dominate, will try to lord over. Anyways, we have a tendency to become the master, to become popular, to dominate others, and to control others. That is our natural inherent tendency. If offenses are not, reactions are not there, then all these tendencies will ultimately come, and there won't be any loving relationships. It all will be chaos. There's so many, like we'll all become asuras in one sense. So that's why at least the reaction to offenses has to be there. So we'll at least respect the devotees, and we'll always have the mentality and the right consciousness that we need to respect everyone. Right? So that's why we have offenses. Otherwise, Mahaprabhu could have removed that also. Anyways, Mahaprabhu has given a lot of mercy. He's given the highest thing to the lowest person, and that too in the least amount of time. Like we can attain perfection. And then obviously, by Prabhupada's grace, everything has condensed to just one lifetime. If you just follow Prabhupada's instruction, then in one lifetime you can go back to Godhead. So that's why offenses has to be there. Okay. Okay. Now, this, see, in the Antyalila, the similar verse is there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antyalila, first chapter, verse number 108. And I will read the translation, okay? Srila Prabhupada is just, in the purport, is just saying that this is the same verse by Srila Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Samsindhu. So the translation of this CC verse as follows. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Purushottam, the greatest of all persons, has a pure mind. He is so gentle that even if his servant is implicated in a great offense, he does not take it very seriously. Indeed, if his servant renders some small service, the Lord accepts it as being very great. Even if an envious person blasphemes the Lord never manifests anger against him. Such are his great qualities. So in the purport, Prabhupada writes that this is the same verse from BRS 21138. Okay, so last time we had gone through some of the Vaishnava etiquettes, and yeah, I think we did cover to a good extent almost all the most important etiquettes. There are some etiquettes related to how we should receive guests and all. I don't think like I mean, of course, we have to respect and we have to honor, we have to give them, at least if we cannot offer them the facility to stay, to welcome them, or at least we can offer water or some fruits or like whatever best you can at that particular time. But they should be respected, they should be honored. So this is in short the etiquettes for the guests that one can receive at home. Otherwise, we have covered many major etiquettes in the last class. Okay, all right. So now let's see, why do we commit offenses? This is very important. The crux of our discussion, and how to, of course, the remedy already we have discussed. The only option that you need to beg forgiveness. But now let's try to understand, why do we commit offenses? Okay, so I will share one particular purport by Srila Prabhupada in Madhya Lila, 19th chapter, verse number 157. So what does Prabhupada say? While the bhakti creeper is growing, the devotee must protect it by fencing it all around. The neophyte devotee must be protected by being surrounded by pure devotees. In this way, he will not give the maddened elephant a chance to uproot his bhakti creeper. When one associates with non-devotees, the maddened elephant is set loose. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, Asat Sang Tyag e Vaishnav Achara. The first business of a Vaishnava is to give up the company of non-devotees. A so-called mature devotee, however, commits a great offense by giving up the company of pure devotees. The human being is a social animal, and if one gives up the society of pure devotees, he must associate with non-devotees, asat sangha. By contacting non-devotees and engaging in non-devotional activities, a so-called mature devotee will fall victim to the mad elephant offense. Whatever growth has taken place is quickly uprooted by such an offense. One should therefore be very careful to defend the creeper by fencing in it. That is, by following the regulative principles and associating with pure devotees. Even if one thinks that there are many pseudo devotees or non-devotees in the Krishna consciousness society, still one should stick to the society. If one thinks the society's members are not pure devotees, one can keep direct company with the spiritual master. If there is any doubt, one should consult the spiritual master. However, unless one follows the spiritual master instructions concerning the regulative principles and chanting the hearing holy name of the Lord, one cannot become a pure devotee. By one's mental concoctions, one falls down. By associating with non-devotees, one breaks the regulative principles and is thereby lost. In the Updeshamrit of Rupa Goswami, the second verse, it is said, Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha jana sangascha laulyam cha sadbir bhakti vinashyati. When one's devotional service is spoiled, once devotional service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following six activities: eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than required, over endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to attain, talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters, practicing the scriptural rules and regulation only for the sake of following them and not for the sake of spiritual advancement, or rejecting the rules and regulations of the scriptures and working independently or whimsically, associating with worldly minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness, and being greedy for mundane achievements. So, see, these are the six activities by which one's devotional service is spoiled. And of course, the root cause you can understand from this purport is basically the association of outside people, the association of non devotees. Now, all the anarthas that stem, it's all because of them. So, that's why like we say that whatever environment you associate, you acquire those kind of qualities. So we have to be very careful that we should not associate intimately with the non-devotees. The association with non-devotees has to be in terms of giving them Krishna consciousness, not to take material things from them, materialistic views from them, okay, and develop the qualities that they have. So that we have to be very careful. It all stems from associating with non-devotees. And of course, this is not just of this lifetime, but it probably is carried off from so many lifetimes. So that's why we have some, that's why we are in the mode of ignorance and passion. We have some tamasic and rajasic qualities also. We display anger, lust, envy, greed, all these qualities because of that. Now, coming to the if now if you remember the during the discussion of Jay and Vijay, I did mention that we also discussed about this, um, how even great sages, even they have to be very careful while they try to chastise or curse, or they try to find fault with the associates of the Lord. So one such typical example is from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And if you have heard about how Saubari Muni, he cursed Garuda, right? So he thought that he's so advanced that he can curse Garuda. So now the 10th canto, 17th chapter, verse number 12, because this is connected to Kalya pastime. So Srila Vishwanath Thakur, he is giving the result of the reason and the result of the offense committed by Saubari Muni to Garuda. So he says that the bad desire of Saubari to curse Garuda arose from his attachment and association with the fish. So Saubari Muni saw the two fishes are mating with each other, and somehow his mind got attached and he got attracted to them. So now basically, because Garuda's natural food is the fish, and he arrives there and he tries to eat them, but then because of his attachment to the fish, Saubari Muni is trying to um, obstruct Garuda from doing that, and that's why he curses him. Okay, so Vishwanath Thakur says that though he wanted to benefit the fish, it had an opposite effect. What to speak of the fish, the trees on the bank of the lake, and the birds flying above all, they all died when Kalia came there. Because of pride, Saubari Muni lost his power of austerity, spiritual beauty, and happiness. Due to those very fish, he developed desire for material enjoyment, gave up Yamuna, and married many beautiful daughters of King Mandata, and suffered greatly. But because he had once taken shelter of Yamuna in Vrindavan, he was ultimately delivered. So, see, there are two things here. If we are committing offenses, then one way to protect ourselves is to, of course, beg forgiveness, right? But if that does not work, then if you should have the mercy of a great Vaishnava, of an advanced devotee, then there is a chance that you may be freed from the reaction to that particular offense. And third is that when you commit offense in Braj, then it also there is although it is the Dham Aparadha, but the way to counteract Dham Aparadha is to uh, counteract all these offenses which are committed in the dham itself. There is no other way. So if you commit some offenses in the dham, those offenses has to be counteracted in the dham only. It cannot be counteracted outside. Okay. So what he did, although he committed offense in the dham, because he had taken shelter of Yamuna, and uh, and because he was in the dham, that's how he was ultimately delivered. The Yamuna, he got the mercy of Yamuna. Okay, and that's how he got delivered ultimately. Of course, now Sanatan Goswami, he in the Brihad Bhagavatam, it says that these are all like examples. Saubari Muni or Bharat Maharaj or Mriga or Gajendra, these are like examples. Ultimately, they are just showing by example. But this is just a pastime of the Lord. So nothing really happened to them because they already attained the Lord, probably. Okay, now one more thing, in the Jai Vijay pastime, also it is mentioned in the translation itself that the one of the reasons why uh, Jai Vijay committed offense is because, I mean, of course, this is again from external point of view. Jai Vijay cannot commit any offense to the Lord. The internal reason is, as you know, that they wanted to please the Lord by fighting with him. So that's why they took 3 births. Okay, because there was no one qualified to fight with the Lord. So then the associates, they thought that, okay, because there is no one to fight with the Lord, we'll take that seva. So as a seva, they did it. And but this is just an analysis of the external circumstances which happened. So here it is mentioned in the translation that The reason why they offended the sages is because they ignored the Lord. So ignoring the Lord means ignoring the instruction of the Lord. One of the instruction of ignoring one of the instruction is that that one has to be very careful and respectful and serve the devotees, but they did not follow this instruction, and they didn't even think about the Lord before um, stopping them from entering into the chambers of the Lord. So that's the reason. So ignoring means, although there may be a subtle reason why you would like to do this, and that's the subtle reason is that in spite of the Lord's instruction, you may still ignore that instruction. You may still want to do your own thing. So that ignorance is also the cause of offenses. Okay, so this is about the cause of offense. So basically it stems from the association of non-devotees, all the qualities they manifest because of that. And ultimately, of course, you also ignore the Lord. So these are the causes. Now, what are the root causes of the anarthas that we have? So Vishwanath Thakur in the Madhurya Kadambini in the third shower, he says, then there is no doubt about the unlimited potency and the capacity of the holy name. But the holy name, being displeased with offenders, withdraws his potencies and does not manifest himself to them. Thus, we can understand this is the reason why all sort of anarthas, offenses, sins are present in a person. Despite the presence of such obstacles, the Yamdutas are ineffectual against those who chant the holy name, even with offenses. So the scriptures confirm that those fortunate persons who are chanting the holy name did never set eyes on Yamraj or his fearsome messengers, even during a dream. So one good thing Vishwanath Thakur is saying that even if you are committing aparadh by intentionally or unintentionally, of course, if that's a very envious, like with the intention of envy, and it's a very heavy offense, then maybe that particular person may see Yamaraj. But in general, Yamraj is not seen by any devotees who are striving to please the Lord. Okay, that is one good thing about. But then he's saying that whatever anthas that you have developed, okay, and I will also discuss what is the outcome of committing aparadhs, what tendencies and habits that we develop after we commit aparadhs. So whatever is happening is because of offenses. The root cause is offenses. Because of that, all the other anarthas are developing. Okay. So now there is one particular example where we should never judge. And Vishwanath Thakur in his Madhura Kadambini, the same third shower, so he also gives a particular evidence from the scripture, from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So he's saying that, okay, one may ask, how could Chitraketu Maharaj be guilty of offending Lord Shiva, despite having attained a direct interview with the Supreme Lord? So if you remember, Chitraketu Maharaj, he worshipped the Lord and he saw Lord Sankarshan face to face, right? So he had a direct interview with the Supreme Lord. King Chitraketu's offense against Lord Shiva is an allegorical offense, not a perceived offense, because even after the king was cursed, he did not forfeit his spiritual wealth of prem. So what he's saying is that even after his curse, after the curse of Lord Shiva, Chitraketu Maharaj's bhakti did not went down. It still continued with the same intensity. Okay. And that's why it was an allegorical offense rather than a real offense. So this proves that curses do not take proper effect on such elevated souls. What is of the utmost significance is that subsequently Chitraketu Maharaj became an eternal associate of the Supreme Lord. Another incident from the Bhagavatam is that of Jay and Vijay offending the four Kumaras. The scriptures say the reason for their deliberately offensive action was because their love for the Lord prompted it. In fact, Jay Vijay had prayed to the Lord for such a situation. So as I described to you, the same thing, that they would like to fight with the Lord. So if one mentally commit offenses by misunderstanding the status of such devotees, then he must overcome such aparadhs by proper scriptural judgment. So even while going through the examples of the scriptures, one has to be careful not to offend all these personalities. Like it may be Brahma or Shiva. Brahma, who got attracted to his own daughter, Shiva also started running after Mohini avatar, right? And so these are all used as an example. Otherwise, they are all perfected beings. They are all perfected devotees of the Lord. Okay. Okay, now Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Bhaktyalok, he says that uh, one has to avoid prajal. So there are six things to be avoided, or we can see that the six type of offenses to the devotees. So he says, so he's basically elaborating on that, on that Vaishnava Aparadha thing. So he's saying that to blaspheme a Vaishnava, to not offer obeisances to a Vaishnava upon seeing him, to not feel delighted upon seeing a Vaishnava, to think ill of a Vaishnava, to get angry on the Vaishnava, to kill a Vaishnava. So all these things will create great obstacles in the path of bhakti. And then in Bhakti Ratnakar, Srila Narari Chakravarti, he writes that be careful in your dealings with devotees and never create any ill feelings in their hearts. Creating ill feelings with devotees will create impediments on the one's path of spiritual life. Please be very careful in dealing with Vaishnavas. Beg their forgiveness for any offense with your heart and soul. Be careful not to see a Vaishnav's faults and always sing their glories. All of the previous great devotees have said, no one can understand the behavior of the Vaishnava. Hold the devotee's lotus feet to your head and always dive in the nectar of pure devotional service. So actually any Vaishnava on any platform, they will not approve blasphemy of the Lord or his devotees. So see, now no one can understand the behavior of the Vaishnava. Of course, it does not necessarily apply to all category of devotees. It generally applies to the Madhyama and Uttama because they have a particular reason why they do things. And Uttama, of course, especially the state of Bhava and Prema, then their intentions and their actions and they are like totally under the supervision of the Lord. So these are the devotees whose mind cannot be understood. Vaishnavara Kriya Mudra Vignana Bujai. You cannot understand the mind of the acharyas. Okay, so now I would like to share something which is a question and answer. So a devotee had asked His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj, if we have no intention to hurt any Vaishnava, but a Vaishnava gets offended due to behavior, we don't want to offend, but devotees feel offended because of their own expectations. How can we overcome from such Vaishnava offense when we even don't know why who got offended? So Jayapataka Maharaj answers, say that Prabhupada would ask a question of his senior Vaishnavas. He said, if you ask as a question, technically it is not an offense. If you say to someone, oh, you are fallen or something, that is offensive. But if you ask a question, Prabhu, why are you doing this? Is it all right? Can I follow your example? So by asking a question, it is not offensive. And then Jayapataka Maharaj shares a pastime, Rupa Goswami unintentionally committing offense against a lame devotee. So he says that Rupa Goswami was laughing in ecstasy when reading his Bhagavatam. Some Vaishnava went by who was a cripple. So then he thought Srila Rupa Goswami is laughing at me. So then something happened and Rupa Goswami lost his ecstatic bhav. So he asked Srila Sanatana Goswami, you must have offended someone. Who did I offend? How can I find out? So then Sanatana Goswami advised him, have a feast. One who does not come is the one you have offended. He did that and noted that the crippled devotee did not come. So he went to that crippled devotee and said that, why did you feel offended by me? Then he said, you laughed at me. No, I did not laugh at you. I did not even know who you were. I was reading Bhagavatam. I was feeling ecstasy and so I laughed. I wasn't laughing at you. I always respect you. So then the two made up and then his ecstasy got back. But you can ask a question. Don't accuse anyone. Don't tell anyone that, oh, you are fallen. Mother Sachi, she took the dust from Advaita Acharya's lotus feet and got forgiven. Right? So this is how Jayapataka Maharaj answers the question. With respect to this incident, I would like to say that the pastime of Rupa Goswami is also described in different ways, like sometimes. So there is some difference in detail. But overall, the theme is that unintentionally you may commit offense and you may have to bear the reaction for that also. So it is always good to be careful while dealing with devotees. Okay. Now another example Srila Jiva Goswami is giving from Srimad Bhagavatam in his Bhakti Sandarbha, text 153. So if you remember the example, the pastime of Nriga, who became a lizard because of, so he had a huge heart, a great He was very extremely magnanimous, and he used to donate large quantities of cows. So one time, what happened is he actually donated to two brahmanas, big quantity of number of cows, and one of the cows went from one of the brahmanas place to the other brahmana's place by mistake. And so that brahmana started demanding King Niga that I want the same cow. But the other brahmana thought that the cow is actually mine. It has been donated to me. So it belongs to me. So they had a mutual argument. And then finally, somehow, because it was not resolved, although the king apologized and he also said that it happened by mistake, it was not his fault, but still he was cursed and he became a lizard. So now in the Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that Niga actually went to Yamraj's abode, to Yamraj, and then uh, Niga was given the option of choosing which what he want to select, whether he want to face the reaction of his pious karma first or his impious karma first. So then he chose that he would like to prefer to choose his impious karma reaction of that first. So then he became immediately became a lizard. Okay, and then later on, of course, because of his uh, bhakti to the Lord. Now, Jiva Goswami says that he actually was a devotee, but later on, he saw the Lord face to face. He was delivered by the Lord, right? So, Srila Jiva Goswami says that from this is understood that Niga had bhakti, and thus he was not subject to Yamaraj, who takes only those who do not practice bhakti. He did not go to Yama's planet. So now, see, it may seem contradictory because now I'm saying that he did not go to Yam, as per Jiva Goswami. At the same time, Bhagavatam is saying that he went to Yamloka, right? And he met Yamraj. But when it is mentioned that he did not go to Yam's planet, it means that he did not go to Yamraj's planet for punishment. Okay. So that in that context, it's said like that. But instead of that, he became a lizard. So he had to, because of this reaction, um, he had to undergo some kind of punishment in Yamloka, but that he escaped because of being a devotee of the Lord and because of his chanting. Okay, so now what was the cause of this? So Jiva Goswami says that if he had accepted the glories of bhakti as described in scriptures, he would have not given up serving the Lord and become absorbed in actions of karma. It is said that bhakti is stagnated by such an offense. So actually, what happened? He felt that donating cows, giving charity is even greater than the effects of bhakti. For example, like you must have heard that when you go to the temple, then you are the first thing you are supposed to do is to ring a bell, right? And by ringing a bell, unlimited sins are destroyed, karmas or like many karmas are destroyed. So we know that like and it is and Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur says that this is much more effective than opening numerous hospitals and doing a lot of social welfare activities. So for a materialistic or outsider, it is inconceivable. But for the devotee, we understand that someone who is ringing a bell in the temple is making a connection to the Lord, and that connection ultimately is giving credit to the Atma. So the Atma will definitely reap the sukriti in the future, and that person will finally be free from the more like the material world, from the cycle of birth and old age. So he will be reinstated in his original position. Whereas when you are opening charitable hospitals, institutions, organizations, this is all causing pious karma, and that is going to bind you. So in that sense, what he did, he actually discredited the power of bhakti, and he thought that these are like exaggeration, which is mentioned in Shastra. So because of this offense to the, so it's in one technically speaking, it's Nam Aparadha. So he became a lizard, but still because he was chanting the name, he was a devotee. That's why he could escape from hell, hellish punishment. Okay, this is one of the examples of Niga. Now there is also the mention of the need to repeat sadhana and the need to repeat the names or to do it constantly. So, in the same sandarbh, Srila Jiva Goswami further states that sadhanas must be repeated because the scriptures teach that one must engage many times. And this is also given in the Brahma Sutra. So, this repetition is explained in the Padma Puran. So the name is taken to represent all types of bhakti. So Nam Aparadha Yuktanam Namami Eva Haranti Yagam Avishranti Prayuktani Tani Evar Takarani Cha. For persons who commit offense to the names, if chanted tirelessly, will have effect and it will destroy sin. So those who are perfect also repeat the names of the Lord and services to the Lord. This produces extreme bliss. Those who are not perfect make a rule of repetition until they attain the result, because there may be offenses remaining in the interval till the state of prema. So now one thing is very important to understand, that the reason we are chanting every day, the reason Prabhupada introduced sadhana of chanting every day, is because unknowing intentionally we commit aparadhs, and these aparadhs, they all get destroyed by unknowingly, the constant chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So whatever you do steadily, whatever bhakti anga you perform steadily, they kind of destroy the unknowing offenses, unintentional offenses that we commit in the process. So that's why the Shastra, they prescribe us that we should do things repeatedly. Okay. So now there are, see, now what is the result of committing aparadh? What result do we get? So it is mentioned by Jiva Goswami that there are faults that will occur, and these faults are crookedness, lack of faith, failure to remain steady in worshipping the Lord, becoming absorbed in material objects, laxity in performing bhakti, and pride in one's performance of bhakti. So six faults will arise, six qualities will arise because of offenses to the devotees. And the faults are crookedness, lack of faith, failure to remain steady, becoming absorbed in material things, and laxity in performing. And finally, the sixth one is developing pride in one's performance of bhakti. So if these faults are hard to remove even by bhakti in the form of association with great devotees, this is the result of offenses. So even if you associate with devotees, advanced devotees, and still you are not able to remove, that means it has been coming from the previous lifetimes. And then gradually Jiva Goswami gives examples of all these offenses. I mean, the people who are affected by these faults. So he gradually keeps on giving the like example. So for all right, so should we take this like, can we continue next time, or because I assume there may be some questions also, because if we take questions and if we also cover, then we'll have to
Yes, Prabhuji, we can next time.
next time. Okay, so it's better if we take some questions now. All right, so thanks for the opportunities of Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Bol. Now, if there are any questions or comments, please share.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for this very, very, I must say, important class, because it affects our sadhana directly. Very important. So Prabhuji, you mentioned the first aparadh was that don't associate intimately with non-devotees. The word intimately, because it's difficult to not associate with non-devotees. At least everybody we are surrounded with not necessarily are devotees, but and I do understand they have a direct influence on us, sadhu sangha, like we say. So could you please shed some light as to how to handle this? Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes, see, the thing is that we have to discriminate, and then we have to, at some point of time, we need to intelligently think, and then we have to detach ourselves gradually. So, like for example, we may have relatives, we may have our friends and all, and if they are making fun of our bhakti, if they are criticizing, if they are um, doing all these things which are not recommended, which are not favorable for bhakti, then definitely we must gradually detach ourselves from them using intelligence. and by the guidance of the devotees, then we should gradually, come out of that. Otherwise, if you are only sentimentally attached to that person, then neither you are going to benefit nor he will benefit. No one is going to benefit in that. Ultimately, we are getting more entangled in the cycle of what that old age is, right? So, for that, it requires to have a very good sadhana, and of course, Shravanam has to be there so that we'll have the power of discrimination, and then we can see whether their character, with their actions, they are interfering with our bhakti, they are not favorable with our bhakti. If they are favorable or if they are neutral, even if they appreciate, if they are appreciating, that is very good. Then then you don't have to be bothered. So that's why even in my also example, what I do is I only try to associate with people who are pious in nature. They don't have any of the habits where they criticize devotees or they are talking about sinful activities or such things. So I do not associate with those kind of people. In my friend circle, I've kept only those who are like quite pious and they are appreciative of bhakti. Right. So that kind of discrimination you'll have to use, and gradually you'll have to come out of that kind of association. Otherwise, definitely it will influence your consciousness. What to speak of association of devotees? Even you can say, even the food that we eat, that also has a lot of influence, strong influence in our consciousness. Prabhupada stated many times that devotees should only eat prasadam, because even, I mean, of course, practically it may not be possible every time to, unless you're staying in the temple or you are full time, doing something, some seva. But if you have to go outside or you have to travel, then you may have to have some time. But as far as possible, we should try that we should not have outside food also, because a lot of karma goes inside that food, and you don't know who is cooking that food, because that person is probably he's a non-vegetarian, or what he's thinking, he may be thinking of sinful activities or he may be doing sinful activities, and then he's cooking the food also. So all that will go inside the food. So I mean, of course, for my own practical example, this is more difficult than rejecting or detaching ourselves from our friends and all, because many times we go outside, we travel, and that time we have to eat something. So because there is no option, there are no restaurants all over the world. I mean, there are no devotee restaurants, there is no Govindas all over the world till now, and so you have just some restaurants in major cities of the world. So that is more important. That is more difficult also to give up. But yeah, I mean, and of course, the other consideration is that you don't want to depend on other devotees also. You don't want to inconvenience them whenever you are traveling outside. I mean, I would think like that, I would not ask anyone to prepare prasadam for me unless I know that devotee. If there are some outside people who are there, I mean outside devotees whom I don't know, then I don't want to inconvenience them, because I don't know what is their family situation, circumstances, and all that. And unnecessarily, they will have to, because they may have job, they may have business, or they may have work. So it's quite difficult. So it is, sometimes it is okay. I mean, even Prabhupada did like that. Sometimes he had outside, and then Prabhupada also said one time that ultimately everything is Krishna's prasad. But of course, it does not give us license to freely have outside food every day. So at least maybe once in a week, once in a while, it's okay. But and then it also depends on who is cooking the food. If your wife is cooking, she is like very tired, she wants some rest, then of course you cannot ask her to cook all the time. Then we have to also take that role. We have to help. Otherwise, maybe sometimes we have to eat outside also. So yeah, this is what I feel. This can be practically implemented. Unless you are staying in temple or in the association of devotees all the time, then of course you will get a lot of options. So does it make sense, Mallory?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much. Some of, especially with relatives, it's very difficult to disassociate, but one can
I
try.
mean, you can, like, see, there is no problem of associating, but your stand has to be firm, and you have to try to give them association. If that is, it does not happen, at least you should not be affected by their association. So for that, you must require a very strong sadhana. You have to do very strong sadhana, and you have to also be really very much thorough with the scriptures, so that even if they try to ask certain things, you will be able to defend yourself, and you will be able to convince them also. Okay, so your position has to be strong when you are in association outside people. If you are affected and influenced by them, then it's better that you don't associate so much.
Yes, Prabhuji, that's right. Absolutely. And Prabhuji, the other thing is dham aparadh you mentioned. What are the different types of dham aparadhs like?
Yeah, okay. Before that, one more thing also strike me, that when I associate with my relatives and my friends, so it's like everyone knows that we don't eat onion garlic at all. So then now, because they are nice, genuine, they are affectionate. So whenever we go meet them, they always prepare without onion garlic food, and many times they even offer to the Lord when we visit. So I mean, so at least certain minimum things should be observed, and we should be strict in our principles. And by that, they will also get inspiration, and they will appreciate with time. Initially, they may make fun or something, but later on, they will start appreciating that we are so dedicatedly doing it since so many years. So these are the things, like we of course, the regulative principles, so like it's like you cannot compromise with that. And then you cannot compromise onion garlic. You should try to not avoid coffee and tea also as much as possible, and whatever is not favorable, so that all things should be conveyed to your relatives or whoever it is. Yeah, now you're talking about dham, something about the dham, right?
Yes, Prabhuji. Dham aparadh, like you mentioned. So, what are the different types of dham aparadh, Prabhuji?
So dham apra, so there is a list, once again. I think that is also 10 in number. And one thing is there, that see, Navdeep Dham is free of the Dham Aparadh, because it is especially there is the magnanimity of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, mercy. That's why Navdeep Dham, if you commit Dham Aparadh, there are no reactions to that. One second, I will just share with that.
What page are you, Prabhuji?
Which page means?
Of the Bhagavatam that you're reading, the page canto.
No, no, this is not in the Bhagavatam. Oops. Sorry. I will show you the 10 offenses to the Holy Dham. Yeah. So the first is to show contempt or disrespect for the Guru who reveals the Vrindavan Dham, to think that Vrindavan Dham is temporary, to commit violence towards any of the Vrajvasis, or to think they are ordinary people, perform mundane activities while living in the Vraj, earn money by and making a business of deity worship and Harinam, to think Vrindavan Dham belongs to a mundane country like Uttar Pradesh, to equate Vrindavan Dham with holy place of the demigods, to attempt to measure the area of Vraj, to commit sinful acts while residing in Dham, to consider Vrindavan Navdeep to be different, to blaspheme the Shastra that glorify Dham, to be faithless and think the glories of Vrindavan Dham are imaginary. So these are 10 offenses to the Holy Dham.
So, Prabhuji, like I just want to quickly share because I know many people would have questions today. Last time when I went to Vrindavan, we went with one Prabhuji from ISKCON itself, and he showed us, went to Gokul and everywhere. In the end, we had doodh, the prasadam that we got at Damodar Ashtakam place. We fell sick after that. So I was trying to analyze what did I do that I went to Vrindavan and we did Govardhan Parikrama, everything we wanted to do, we did. And it was a beautiful visit. I think maybe when we went to one of the places, the priest was, how they are. Sometimes they force you to pay this, pay that, and even our Prabhuji, the who took us, also said you don't have to do it. So sometimes they really get aggressive, so maybe mentally one was upset and one, so I don't know if that is an aparadh, but other than that, I don't really think one. I was feeling horrible that we felt very sick after that, Prabhuji. So it must
Very
be
sick,
directly.
very sick after drinking the milk.
Yes, the prasadam, because yeah, we had the prasadam, and I thought it. So I heard that one should not have milk prasadam unless one is very sure of the if it's hygienic. You know.
Okay. Well, actually, see, I don't think that is like it happens. It can happen anywhere in India when you come to India, because now you are habituated to living in the US, so you have very pure environment, like considerable pure environment compared to India, and this happens for, I think, everyone whoever comes from Western countries. They stay for good amount of time in India, then in the initial days they will fall sick or they will have some issues with the digestion. So I think that's because of change of environment and change of water also. So I don't think it's actually connected with the. I mean, of course, if Krishna wants to give you that reaction in Dham, then maybe it is possible. But otherwise, you may just consider it like, okay, it happens in. See, one thing I would like to share. This is very important. We cannot judge that, whether we are committing offense and getting reaction because something negative is happening to us. That I don't that's a very common misconception that I think all the devotees have. There are so many acharyas, there are so many our great exalted sages who devotees also who have suffered a lot. The Pandavas, they suffered so much. So do you think that because of aparadhs they had suffered? Or Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was totally paralyzed. And then some outside people, they took the opportunity, who were envious of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and they started saying that Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually, by making some changes, he actually made some aparadh to the process of bhakti. So then Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he requested Bhaktivinoda Thakur to actually please come back to the normal state so that it will give an answer to all these people who are criticizing you. So then gradually Bhaktivinoda Thakur started, his locomotion started, becoming normal, and he came out of the completely, totally paralyzed state. He became totally normal. And then all these people who criticized him, they fell down at his feet and they begged forgiveness. So similar thing happened with Narottam Das Thakur also, because he initiated Brahmanas, although he was not from Brahmana caste. So then all these, caste Brahmanas, they were criticizing him, and like he left his body, but then the disciples asked Narottam Das Thakur to again come back so that it will counteract whatever they criticized, and finally came back to his external consciousness, and he lived for some time, and then later on he disappeared. So all these Brahmana, they fell at the feet of Narottam and they took initiation from him. So it is not that, I mean, one can not directly conclude that, okay, because something wrong happened with me, that's why it's an offense reaction. I mean, how do you know that? I mean, see, one of the faults that can occur because of offenses is absorption in material objects. And when when things are going good, it may also because of the result of offenses to the holy name or to the Vaishnavas, because you get more absorbed in material world. You get taste and enjoyment in the material world. So that can also be an offense. How do you know? In fact, sometimes there is a purification from the Lord, and we may not, uh, the experience may not be blissful for us. It may be distressful for us, but that experience may be for our purification. The Lord is trying to purify us. It's not necessarily because of reaction to the offenses, right? So it's virtually, like you should say that it is not. It's quite difficult to consider that this happened because of some reaction of offenses. If we are sure that we committed offense to a Vaishnava, now generally say, I will tell you what will happen. if the Lord wants to make us realize that we committed offense to a devotee, then let's say if we commit offense to a devotee in a particular, he's in a particular situation and he does something, and then we criticize that devotee. So then what will happen if the Lord wants to make you realize that you are wrong? Then he will put you in the same situation. And then later on, you will realize that actually the devotee acted rightly. But because of my inexperience and because of my own lack of understanding, maturity, I judge that devotee because now I am in the same situation and I am also inclined to act in the same way. So that you can relate. Okay, this because this happened, I did like that. That's why the same reaction I got. So then you can probably identify that, okay, maybe I criticized wrongly and I should not have done that. But if it is like nowhere related, you don't even know, then you cannot just keep on speculating that okay, this happened because of some offense or this that. Something bad happens, we see, oh, it's because of offense. No, good things happen. It may be because of offense also. Generally, the result of offense is that your bhakti will slacken. Okay, your taste for bhakti will go down in the sense that you will start seeing that now you are getting no taste in Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, all these angas of bhakti. And you will also give up certain things. So that is a consequence of bhakti. In fact, there are some cases where your bhakti will continue, your quality, your quantity will continue, steadiness will continue, but still you will not realize you have committed some aparadhas. Like for example, you see the typical example of Bharat Maharaj, and we'll be discussing that later also. But you'll see that how Bharat Maharaj, the reason Jeev Goswami says that he fell down from his position is not because of any aparadh in this life. He says that it was done in the previous life. Now he did not knew anything about it, but he was advancing in his bhakti. He was going from Shraddha to the stage of Bhava, or not, let's say not Shraddha, maybe some advanced stage. Maybe from Bhajan Kriya or Nishtha, he advanced to the stage of Bhav. That reaction to the offense that he committed in the previous life did not affect him earlier, but it affected him at the state of Bhav. So you never know, what is happening, what is going to happen. There are some offenses that reactions you may not get in this life also. You may get in the next life, or you may get in a later point of time in this life. So it's all like very critical, and we don't have to speculate, but we should try to be cautious that if we have spoken anything ill about any Vaishnava, or maybe we criticize anyone, we never know when the reaction can come. So yeah, that's how we have to be very careful. I hope it makes sense to you, Madhuri.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. Very, very clear. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Okay, any other devotees?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for a wonderful class. Madanath Pranam to you. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. And in association, I was remembering, we should read more and more about Prahlad Maharaj, how he was so intimately, connected to his father, who was a demon. And these scriptures, especially, they show to us that we all are in that situation and how we have to handle it. And the young boy was able to do it. He was not even affected when his father was being killed in the lap of Narsimha Bhagwan. So, when you were giving your answer to Mataji, I was remembering about Prahlad Maharaj, that how he's an ideal example. Maybe there are more also.
Yeah, but Prahlad Maharaj is a Nitya Siddha. Okay, so he's a
Hmm.
Uttamadhikari, and we cannot imitate him. That's why whatever happened to Prahlad Maharaj, it was very intense because his father tried to kill him in many ways. In our situation, I don't think that our parents, they try to kill us, or any of our friends or relatives, they try to do that, or they torture us continuously. So the situation is different for Prahlad because in Nitya Siddha, so his tolerance level is, you know, like very intense, whereas our tolerance level is not that much. So we take the example for inspiration, we emulate that, we don't imitate that. And So as far as we are concerned, we first have to evaluate ourselves that whether will be able to um, be unaffected in that kind of situation. If something will be affecting us, then we should stay away from that association. And it also depends on whether how much advanced you are, whether you can give your association. Prahlad gave his association actually. He was unaffected by anything. So he was giving his association to Sanda Amarka and his guru and to his father, everyone, because he could not be budged even an inch, right? But we are not like that. We may become affected. So we need to check how to what degree we become affected, and then we have to withdraw from that. Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji. But just that, like, when we are intimately connected through, like, father parental, then we can read scriptures and see how he, was able to. We're not at that level at all, but still it helps because, just like even for, the holy name, Ajamil is so famous, right? Srila Prabhupada always quotes about Ajamil. When we think of Ajamil, we are thinking of, oh, however way we chant the holy name, it has an effect because he was not doing it to. He never thought of Narayan as Krishna. His consciousness was not that, but just the name. So similarly, I was thinking in this context that it's like when it comes to staying among people who are this thing, we really have to be very careful. And I like the point you mentioned that the prasadam, we have to be more careful about that because that is something which this we can tackle and give association and do some things and read to people and but the other things directly go inside us. So I really like that point you mentioned, that you have to be very careful about the prasadam because we don't know. And just life becomes very simple when you only mentioned this, that just get to the root, find out who's cooked it. That's it. To find out who's, just like we check the ingredients, right, Prabhuji? Like, what all is there in it. Sometimes it's like garlic powder or something else with gelatin. There's so many things, stuff. So similarly, we have to find out who's cooking it, and then that's the
I mean,
consciousness.
you can do it to some extent,
Hmm.
but let's say if you go to a hotel, then you cannot
Hmm.
just keep asking these people, the manager, that okay, who's cooking it, what is background. That seems very awkward. Also, it's very embarrassing. So that thing, you see, if you are going to a hotel, then I mean, if you want to, if you have to eat there, then just eat it. Then you cannot just keep asking all these questions. Then why are you going there in the first place? The person will also think that okay, why you are asking so many? If you have so much concern, then just go home and cook yourself. Why are you coming here then? So if you happen to go in a restaurant, then at least one thing that I have heard from the senior devotees is that try to avoid going in a non-vegetarian restaurant, because or at least there is a separate kitchen for the vegetarian food, so that like they are strictly following that etiquette. Okay. So, and then of course, then there are some restaurants which may not serve onion garlic also. So these are the best thing if you get this option.
Yes,
So
Prabhuji. But in USA it is very difficult actually to get a restaurant which is vegetarian. All the Indian restaurants here, they will sell
yeah,
because and they have a separate section. But those people who are actually at the back, they are mixing everything.
yeah. You, I
So
think Western countries it is quite difficult.
uh,
India, we
because
have like India, we have so many options now. In fact, all most of the restaurants in at least in Mumbai and major cities, they even offer Jain food. Even in the flights, also, if you must have seen, there's
yes,
Jain option.
yes, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, one thing more is there. Like, I know there are some devotees regarding prasadam, there's always some question. Some devotees are like, very adamant about the fact that, they will only, just even while traveling, for instance, they will make their own food. Those chapatis will become like so stale and they'll still eat that, but they will not take the one Jain food, for example. So, in a grasta life, it becomes very hard sometimes,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like you were about traveling. So sometimes we can let loose as long as we are not eating onion garlic, and we can
yeah.
offer in the mind. It's not like permanently we are going to be in the air having
Yeah,
airport
yeah.
food or whatever.
See, generally, the process of offering is such that when we are not cooking ourselves, when the devotees are not cooking, then if we are taking something from outside, we just
Mhm.
remember the Lord and try to pray to the Lord to purify the offering. It's not like exactly that we are offering bhoga to the Lord, that you also eat. Because generally, um, the food cooked by non-devotees is it's not appreciated by the Lord. It does not prefer that. And Prabhupada has written about that in the purpose also, that we should not have food eaten by cooked by the non-devotees, and it cannot be offered also. Now there are some exceptional examples of Prabhupada Leela, you see, where Prabhupada is eating outside, and Prabhupada, does that number of times. It is not that it is just one time, but he's done that. And then Prabhupada also makes a statement that everything is Krishna's prasad. So what we understand from this is that as much as possible, we try to avoid eating outside food. But yeah, once in a while, like it's okay. I mean, we just mentally, pray to the Lord to purify, and then we eat it. That's it. Like, and of course, we have to see the other strictures also. Like, I mean, see, the thing is that if one person in your house is cooking, if that person is a devotee, and if that devotee wants some break, because if the schedule is very active, then you have to honor that also. Like, okay, if you yourself cannot cook it, then it's okay. I mean, sometimes it is okay. Yeah, but very strictly following, which means that physically you have to be very fit, and um, it should not cause inconvenience to others. So you may be strict in your, sadhana, your this thing, but if your strictness is causing inconvenience to others, then like that is something which is awkward to me. Like I would not prefer giving inconvenience to someone whom I don't know and whom I'm not aware of their circumstances, background, like that. So I mean, so that in that way, I think it is okay for me. I will just have some Jain meal or something like that.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, one more thing. Like, one of my friend's sister is, sorry, my mother's friend is here in USA only, in California area. We are in the East Coast. So what happens is now we were talking about this end part in the question answer about association. So, she happened to come across some friends, happened to make some friends. She must be in her 70s, which are Muslim friends. Now, Muslim people eat beef, right? And I don't know, they don't eat pork, and the Hindus eat pork and they don't eat beef. I don't know, something goes on between Hindu and Muslim people, but we are not there in either of the groups, right? So the point is that so my mother is trying to tell her that you should not associate with them because they are eating beef. That is the worst thing, because we've heard when somebody is eating that, and how we see in the Muslim people, they are so much in ignorance. They have no idea. Of course, Haridas Thakur is exceptional. He was a Muslim, but he was so elevated. But like in the normal people, even when the Ramadan goes on the fast, they're still eating that time also. They're doing fasting, severe fasting, which is more severe than our Ekadashi, or maybe something close to Nirjala Ekadashi. But still, they are eating that. So now, how how can we understand from Krishna's point of view that can be explained to her? Because she's like connected to us, my mom's sister, like that. You should not. We can directly tell them that you should not associate with people who are eating cow, and it's okay if they're Muslim or whatever, but they're eating cow because Krishna will not like it. It's
Yeah.
That's the way.
In fact, what to speak of any Muslims
Mm.
or non-Hindus? I know my one of my own friend in my old building. He's the same caste. I'm a Gujarati, and we are worshippers of Srinathji Natwara. He's also the same caste. After going to the US, he started eating non-veg. But still, because of that respect and culture that we have in our Vaishnava sampradaya, so he specifically does not eat beef. At least that is good. But then there are maybe there are others who do not have that Vaishnava background and culture, and they start eating anything outside countries, outside India, countries outside India. So that is there. Of course, we can, if we have a close relationship with them, then we can try to inform them that please do not do this. At least avoid beef, and as much as possible try to avoid non-veg. But if they do not listen, then we have to see the overall behavior action of that person also. If that person is criticizing Bhakti Vaishnavas, then definitely we have to keep a distance from that person. Totally kind of like, disconnect with that person. And if that person is nice, he just has got this addiction of non-veg, then we don't disconnect. We don't, because see, our movement is preaching movement, and we are not asking questions to people that, okay, are you a beef eater, are you a non-vegetarian, like, we just try to give them knowledge. And I think with time there is some transformation in their life also, like by distributing Bhagavad Gita of Srila Prabhupada, so many people have transformed. Those who are eating non-vegetarian beef, they all gave up after some point of time, right? So we cannot judge like that. We should always try to become favorable to them. We should be as helpful as possible. We should try to be compassionate to them, but not to the extent that we start compromising our own principles or start getting affected by their own ideas and their own thoughts, right? So that much we have to draw the line. And if you are able to affect them, that is a good thing. But still, we should, whatever. So we need to see what good thing they have, what liking they have for a particular limb of bhakti. If they like to go to temple, if they like to read, if they are still open to read spiritual books, then we can give them. So we cannot just disconnect with them just because they are non-vegetarians. No, but we have to see their overall behavior as such, and then we try to uplift them. Of course, we don't do it by our own potency. It's all potency of our Gurujan, but we should try to help them as much as possible.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And also want to mention that, like, some of the people who are from Muslim background, they don't want to eat prasadam also, because they say that this is against our scriptures. Because sometimes we say, no, that's the only resort left to give prasadam.
Don't tell
So
them that's prasadam. You just
yeah,
give them, it's, like we are sharing some food with you. That's it. It's
that's
okay.
it.
I
Don't.
mean, people, they have their different background and culture and consciousness. I mean, we tried our best to, like, by trick we give them. It's not necessary that we have to be so honest every time.
Yeah, I was thinking it is so strange that, like, they don't want to have prasadam. In what kind of ignorance life they're living, that they don't want to take prasadam also.
It is not like there is nothing to be surprised, because if they offer us their prasad, if they say that, okay, this is our prasad, will we eat it? Like, do we also eat the prasad of the demigods? No, because that's not sanctioned by the acharyas. We cannot eat the prasad of even demigods. What to speak of someone from other religion? If they say that, okay, this is halal food for you, will we
Yeah.
appreciate that? For them it is like something similar to prasad, but for us it is like, something which is not favorable. So I mean, it's like that. So we need
Okay.
to see from their point of view also. If we were in their
Yes.
consciousness, then we'll have the similar type of feelings.
Yes, Prabhuji. And also, Prabhuji, like you mentioned about demigods, one line, Mahashivratri just went by in February. So in that, when suppose we want to offer something to Lord Shiva, so first we offer it to our Guru Parampara Krishna. Let it go to Guru Parampara Krishna,
Yeah.
and then
So in context of offering to Lord Shiva, so Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he has prescribed. No, sorry, it is Jiva Goswami in the Bhakti Sandarbha. See, I share all these things in my Acharya Siksha group. So I'm not sure if devotees are reading or not, but that's why I'm sharing this, because these are important concepts to be understood. So he states that when you offer to Lord Shiva, so there are two things, the two mindsets in which you offer. One is that you consider him as Lord Vishnu, because he is non-different, right? So he's Vishnu manifesting less qualities. So in that sense, you offer to him. And another sense, you offer the Vishnu Prasad to Lord Shiva. and then eat the remnants as thinking that he is Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, like that. So, only in these two cases it is possible to accept the remnants of Lord Shiva. Otherwise, with all the different types of mentalities, it is not accepted.
Prabhuji, I lost you. I got a call. Uh, you said, in brief, you said that offer it to Krishna and then give it
Two
to.
ways. Lord Shiva is a special case because he is
Okay.
not different from Vishnu in one sense.
Yeah.
So one
Yeah.
is that you offer Krishna and then give that remnant to Lord Shiva, and that
Okay.
becomes Ma Prasad because he's a Vaishnavanam Yasta Shambhu. And another perspective is that you may also see him directly as the Lord. In that sense, you can offer to the Lord Shiva.
Okay. And that's only for Lord Shiva after Lord
But
Vishnu,
of
Krishna.
course, having the perception that ultimately he's Lord Vishnu with less qualities in that. But if you think that he's the supreme or he's equal to Lord Vishnu, then that all these kind of mentalities are wrong.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for clearing these doubts. And also, Prabhuji, I had asked you one more thing about the association. Is the association okay? The of people with Muslim background who are eating beef? If they're very friendly, the Matajis and everything, but then they are not eating proper, according to us.
I did
According to them,
answer this
they eat it.
question quite elaborately just few minutes ago.
Okay.
I
Okay.
was talking that I did share
Yeah.
that, like we are supposed to be friendly, compassionate, and we have to see the overall behavior of that person.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You said that. Yes,
Yeah,
Prabhuji.
yeah.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you
Okay,
so much. I'm sure there are others might have questions, just chain of answers and questions going on with me. But thank you once again.
okay. Hare Krishna. Yes.
So,
Hare.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sorry, one quick question, Prabhuji, is that you said that Lord Shiva is a lesser, with less qualities as Lord Vishnu, but Lord Vishnu prays to Shiva also, right? Is Aradhya?
So Lord Krishna prays to all the devotees also. He is also worshipping Sudama. He is worshipping the feet of Sudama. He is washing the feet of Subhadama. So that is a different thing. See, Krishna and Vishnu worshipping and praising, what they are doing is they are praising their own devotees. They are worshipping their own devotees. So the Krishna is also taking the dust of Radharani's feet and putting on his head. Right? It does not mean that someone becomes equal. It is in the Leela. So similarly, because Lord Vishnu, uh, Shiva is the Vaishnavanam Yathashambho, is the greatest devotee amongst the Guna avatars. That's why the Lord will also worship him. Lord Ram worshipped Lord Shiva. Krishna also worships Lord Shiva. And similarly, Shiva also does the same thing. But in terms of philosophical understanding, we know very well that Shiva is, there are different forms of Shiva. I think last time we had discussed this. I think it was someone who asked this question about Lord Shiva. Then I mentioned that Shiva is Sadashiv, he is a Vishnu form in the spiritual world. And then in the material world, he is in the form of Shambhu. In the Brahma Samhita, this verse is that from milk you get yogurt, but from yogurt you cannot get milk. So that Shiva in the material world as Shambhu, he is Vishnu manifesting less qualities. Only 55 qualities manifest, and Lord Vishnu manifests 60 qualities. But in the spiritual world, that Sadashiv manifests 60 qualities because he is a Vishnu Tattva. And then there are jivas who actually also take the role of Shiva, who can also manifest 55 qualities. So there are different categories of Lord Shiva. Okay, I hope it makes sense.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Right.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. This is very important and pertinent class because, anarthas and aparadhas really takes us down. Prabhuji, my question is, my Guru Maharaj says we should be like humbler than a blade of grass. And when we are in that mood, we I think we shouldn't take offense of anything like people do to us, right? But in my situation, in my home, like my wife is envious to devotees, and she's very unfavorable. So she sometimes, when I'm making prasadam, she throws it away. When I go for my work trip, she might throw my books away. She might, say that she cooked without onion garlic, and I offer, and then I find out there was onion. So there's some really, hard things to overcome. So how should I think that she's doing aparadha, or should I think that, I'll just, think that, Krishna, please, take care of her, so that she'll someday become a devotee.
Oh, okay. So actually, Prabhu, this is a quite personal question. And as far as what you have described, it seems that, like, see, Trinapi Sunichana is meant for devotees, especially in that particular consciousness, is that whenever something happens to you by external means, some means beyond your control. So it does not include things that are happening which are not going to be favorable to your bhakti. So as soon as something becomes unfavorable to bhakti, that thing has to be stopped. So some action has to be taken for that. So it does not mean that we have to tolerate that. It is meant for something which is coming to us as a matter of tolerance. Like someone from outside will come and slap you or say insulting words to you, or devotees may sometimes, or in the association of devotees, you may experience many things. Your faults, your anarthas, because of that, you may experience many things. And because of that, so that principle applies on that context. It does not apply when things become unfavorable and we just accept it. Then, like the one of the instruction of Guru is that we should we should increase our bhakti, we should advance in bhakti. It's the foremost instruction of the Guru is that we should advance in bhakti. So if things are happening like this, and if that is affecting your bhakti, then one should immediately stop that. One is not obliged to always act like that. um, so I think if, yeah, I mean, if I don't think you are supposed to eat onion garlic. And I think things has to be communicated very clearly. If you know if the spouse is not supportive, and in fact not just supportive, but she's creating any awkward situation for you to advance, then things need to be communicated, and it has to be clear from your end that certain things cannot be acceptable. So yeah, but I think this is a private question too. Probably would not be the right person. Like if someone knows your background very clearly, very nicely, then they will be able to help you out with this. But in general, the answer will be that whatever is unfavorable to bhakti, it has to be stopped immediately. And especially breaking the regulative principles, not respecting the devotees who are visiting. I mean, because you are keeping quiet, and it's also like, there are different ways to tackle Vaishnava Aparadha. One is that you have to run away from the place. If you hear criticism of some devotee, then you need to run away from the place, because the first and foremost is that you basically you cut the tongue of the person and then you kill yourself. That's the first way to react according to Shastra. The second way, if you cannot do that, that's specially meant for Kshatriyas. The second way is that you defeat that person in argument, and you make that person silent, so that you convince the person that what you're saying is baseless, without any reason. If you cannot do it, then just run away from that place, because you should not hear. Ideally, you should not hear blasphemy of devotees. So when it comes to tolerating of the blaspheming of devotees, then we should not tolerate. We have all the right to defend. But it comes to you, then okay, personally it is coming to you, then you can tolerate it. But that also not at the expense of um, harming your bhakti, or bhakti becoming, or situations becoming unfavorable to bhakti. Yeah. So this is the general opinion. And of course, then there are case to case, like in detail, if you'd like to see, then it's best that you consult a senior devotee who knows your situation, who knows your family, like who knows your wife also.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's also something where, for a higher principle, sometimes we have to let go of a lower
Yeah.
principle.
Yes.
So to keep the family together, like to raise the kids, is that a higher principle than, some of these anarthas that you have to tolerate? Which is
I would say that the four regulative principles cannot be compromised. And yeah, that is the minimum thing that
yes.
one should not compromise. And at the same time, if you are initiated, then 16 rounds of chanting.
Yes.
And along with that, in fact, more danger than the regulative principles, breaking the regulative principles, is to repeatedly hear the blasphemy of devotees. If someone from your family becomes critical to devotees, then that's a higher, it's the highest form of, you can say, something which is very unfavorable. It's even greater than breaking the, regulative principles like just, your personal sadhana, you're compromising. But to hear the blasphemy of devotees repeatedly, that is even greater than breaking the regulative principles. So yeah, so these things should not be compromised, Prabhu. This is my understanding.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so I think we can stop here now. Many questions were asked, and we'll continue later.
I wanted to mention one thing to Prabhuji, like, I've been raised in a background where, my father was very religious, spiritual, my mother was very modern and, into making property, money, like that she was. But my father was not like that. He was very spiritual and religious and everything. So the thing is, we always heard from him that, we would always hear from him that, he would tell us that we are two sisters, me and my elder sister, that, I'm with your mother only because of you both. So the situation is just the way, like, when children are there, you have to kind of just, you have to accept the spouse, because what happens is after many years, sometimes we do not come to know, this is, I'm talking about general karmi life, like the sense that, I don't want to say that for my parents, but just the kind of life where, they led, it is not a Krishna conscious life. I'm not coming from that background. So, like, what happens is that, sometimes the parents will, stick with their spouse for the sake of the children. So, and then,
That's in a general sense, they are not devotees.
yeah, yeah.
Especially when someone becomes a devotee, then that priority must also be there, and gradually you have to be detached. There's a lot of options, where one can probably continue staying separately if it is affecting your bhakti a lot. Then there are
Hmm.
options like that can be discussed with personal, like,
Yes,
with
yes.
devotees like that.
Like, whatever situation is there, and especially for Prabhupada ji has given us instructions, especially to Mataji. I was recently hearing Prabhupada's one of the lectures. He said, doesn't matter your husband is diseased, however he is, you stay with your husband.
Yeah,
Uh,
but that
you
is assuming as long as the husband is not disturbing and not causing
yes, yes.
obstructions to your bhakti. Okay.
Hmm.
So
But
it
Prabhuji,
has to
yes,
be, if
yeah,
it is very difficult for you to practice bhakti, then Prabhupada also said that okay, stay separately. So
yes,
it
yes.
has to be seen
But,
like that.
Prabhuji, the
It all
case
depends.
opposite, when, like, for example, the husband is financially supporting the wife and there are small children, and the wife may not be favorable, still the husband has to go on supporting. So there is individual case, like you said, it's individual basis, like
Yeah,
that.
it's
But I know that I learned that, like, with me also, my husband doesn't follow. He's from a Sikh background. We have so to called love marriage when we got married against the parents' wishes, and so we are like from a like a Hindu and a Sikh background. But I've learned that from my father, that we have to tolerate so many things in the spouse, and then just go ahead and make sure. And now in Krishna consciousness, continue with your bhakti, because it is like Srila Prabhupada said, you fly your own plane. So it doesn't matter. I'm flying my own plane, whether my husband in this life is devotee or not.
Yeah,
And then,
so you are able to fly your own plane because he is not doing anything to you.
yes, yes,
Disturbing your Krishna consciousness. So like you are able to do what you want to do. He's what he wants to do.
yes,
He's doing what he wants to do, right? That way.
yeah. Just
But
that.
the moment he
Yeah.
starts interfering and he
Hmm.
tries to obstruct your bhakti, and he also becomes abusive verbally or physically, then Prabhupada always said, okay, you can
Okay.
leave and you can stay alone. So there is no problem with that.
Yes, yes, you're right. Because I know that, like, one thing about my husband is that he says that whatever you feel happy and you do, your happiness is like my happiness. So
Yeah,
that keeps our boat going.
then it's
So
like then
my
he's
happiness,
supporting you. If he's
yeah,
whatever you are feeling happy with, he's saying
yes.
that okay, you continue. Then he's actually supportive. So
Mm.
then it's good actually. You can there's no no need of separation. You can continue.
No, 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 no,
If
no,
you
no.
are able, if you are okay with it. I know so many devotees who want
Hmm.
emotional support also, who want physical, mental, all kind of supports. And if they don't get, even if he may allow you to do certain things of your own, but if he is not giving you that emotional support, then maybe devotees may also separate for that reason. But if you are strong, if you don't need that kind of emotional support also, then yeah, it's okay. You can stay together and you can continue what you're doing.
Yes, Prabhuji, there's like case by case, things are different. But I was thinking that, since Prabhuji told about his wife, and maybe we can chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra for Prabhuji's wife and pray that Krishna can make him devotee. And if not, Krishna not make him devotee, at least Krishna can make her favorable. So, she
Yeah,
can cook.
yeah, sure. Of
If we
course.
can all chant 3 times for Mataji, Prabhuji's wife, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
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 Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Rama,
Ram
Rama
Ram,
Rama,
Definitely.
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Our
Hare.
best wishes,
Hare
and prayers are
Krishna,
there.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare, Hare
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Sorry, Prabhuji, you were saying something?
Yeah. Our best wishes and prayers are for everyone, and
Yes.
but yeah, ultimately the free will is there. So we try our best, but then it also depends on the person's free will. We cannot force anyone.
Yes, Prabhuji. That is definitely there.
Yeah. All right. So okay. So can we stop now? It's quite
Yes.
late also. I think
Thank you,
Samarasika Mata is
Prabhuji.
also waiting to
Thank you
say
very
that
much,
okay, now
Mataji.
we should
There's
stop.
Shamarasika Mataji.
I'm here, Mataji. Listening.
For the long.
It's too late now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have to also speak to her personally.
Yes.
Yes.
Panchakalpatarvesha कृपा सिंधु
Personally.
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
Bhavanebhyo,
नमः
Vaishnavebhyo Namo.
अनंत कोटि
Jai
वैष्णव की
की
जय
जय,
नमः दाता की जय
Yeah.
जय।
श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय